Alright, my name is Richard Pickering and I'm making this video because I want to pose a question, and basically my question is what is a president? And what should we look for an individual that we want to be our president? And so basically one thing I want to start with is that first of all, the president is not a legislator. He's not a person to make legislation. That's not what we're looking for. He's actually a check on legislators. He is somebody who has the power to veto legislation that he sees that's going to not be good for us or go against the Constitution. If that's what he sees, then he vetoes it. And so remember that. We're not looking for somebody that's going to be a good legislator. We're looking for somebody who's going to be a good check on the legislature. He's going to put our needs first, because that's one of his main concerns. He's a person, he's an individual, an executive who serves the people. He looks out for our interests. But where that gets misconstrued and kind of messed up is the fact that he can't serve individual groups. He can't serve individual groups because that leads to inequality. That leads to like crony capitalism, or what you might call like crony peopleism. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know if that's a real thing, but it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? It leads to inequality because certain people get served and others don't. So he has one means to serve people equally across the board. Doesn't matter how much you make, lots of money, not a lot, rich, poor, doesn't matter the race, color, sex, anything. And that the only way that he can legitimately serve people and do for them their best interest and do it equally is to do what he takes an oath to do. And that is to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. So, and in doing that, in preserving, protecting, and defending the Constitution of the United States of America, he serves us, and he serves us equally. Because that is a document, the Constitution is a document that protects us. It's for us. It protects us from our government. It allows us to check our government and keep the reins on them, and keep them from exploding and taking all of our liberties and things like that. So that the only legitimate way the president has to serve people equally is to preserve and protect and defend the document that keeps us free. So we need to look for an individual who we believe that will do that. And then, okay, a second part of what he's going to do is that he's going to be the commander-in-chief of the military. So what does that mean? That means he's going to be the supreme leader of the military. So we're looking for an individual who understands military and understands the sympathy of the military and both sides. Because there's two sides to that. He needs to be an individual who understands military and understands foreign policy and understands the importance of a strong defense. Because we need to show, we have to have presence in the world that says, look, we're strong. If you come and bother us or try to take our liberty or take anything from us or attack us in any way, we will crush you. End of story. Not police the world, but we will defend ourselves. But he also has to be an individual who understands that diplomacy is extremely important. Diplomacy with other nations and good foreign policy is extremely important in keeping us safe. You know, there's a misconception. I mean, we're not playing football, okay? When it comes to the military, a good defense is not a good offense, okay? That's a bad way to think. A good defense is a good defense. It's a strong defense. If somebody attacks us, we, with the Congress and us as people, decide this people attacked us, we're going to wage war, and we crush them and end it. So we're looking for an individual that understands that, but also understands that he's also the individual that might, in certain circumstances, have to pull reins and hold back the military and say, no, we are not going to do this because it's not, there's other means to get what we want. We have diplomatic measures that we can take. So we're looking for an individual that understands military, and one good thing that you might look for is somebody who's actually been in the military and understands how it works and things like that. You know, it's not a must, but that's a pretty good plus. If they've been in the military, that's a pretty good plus. I mean, I'm just saying. So then another aspect of their job is that they make appointments. And one of the main appointments they make is they make appointments to the Supreme Court. So, and that's so important that we know that we need to look for an individual who, I mean, if you look at our Supreme Court right now, it's a perfect example of what we've chosen as presidents. We've chosen individuals who put ideology in front of the Constitution, in front of us as people, and serving us. I mean, look at our Supreme Court. It's it's split down just like our Congress. It's an embarrassment, kind of. I'm not talking totally bad on it because it's, you know, whatever, but it's kind of a perfect example of what we've done as people to our government by not keeping them in check and by choosing executives who were not looking for what they're supposed to be. We're not looking for what they're supposed to be. When it comes to the Supreme Court, we want an individual who's going to appoint Supreme Court justices who aren't going to just push their agenda further and aren't going to move us in one direction or the other. They're only going to preserve and protect the Constitution, because that's the only legitimate way that they can serve us. That's the only legitimate way that they can equally protect us. All right? You can't put individuals in there that are going to choose certain groups to be with and not be with. So if you think you're choosing a president who's going to do that, that's not a good individual. We need a president that we believe will choose people who preserve the Constitution, because that's the only legitimate and equal way of serving us and protecting us. And I guess that's basically what I wanted to share with you, and hopefully have you ask, what should I be looking for then, you know? There's too much tied into these debates and emotion, you know? That's why the original process didn't... Originally, presidents weren't supposed to even run for their presidency. They were supposed to be chosen. That's what the Electoral College is. It was for each state to have an equal say and choose an individual that they thought would be awesome for president and then vote that way. There wasn't supposed to be no running for president, none of this, you know. But this is what we have, so we have to deal with it, okay? But we need to understand what we're looking for. And if you just take some time and read the Constitution and understand what the powers granted to the president are, then I think it will really help in you making a decision of what we want and what will make it the best for us as people. Alright, so just remember, we're looking for an individual who will uphold the Constitution of the United States of America, and he'll preserve it and defend it above all else. I mean, that's really, like I said, the only legitimate, equal way of serving us. And we're also looking for an individual that we trust to lead our military in the right direction. We're looking for an individual that we trust to hold the reins when needed and make solid decisions with Congress and us and involve us all and make it an open discussion when we do need to maybe defend ourselves. And also an individual who will appoint legitimate, non-ideological people to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is supposed to also protect, defend the Constitution. And so we want individuals in there that aren't biased in any certain way. So remember that. The Constitution, a competent military leader, and somebody who's not going to appoint someone to push their agenda to the Supreme Court.